Your beauty is that of gentle winter, my dearest. Chapter 2. My dearest, how your beauty astounds me. Summary. Part of the reason why Gotham's coveted prince has remained single all this time is due to one crucial thing, Clark is sure. Scary children privileges. Or, the family being a family. Part of the reason why Gotham's coveted prince has remained single all this time is due to one crucial thing, Clark is sure. Scary children privileges. A man approaches Bruce, a drink in both hands. As he tries to invite Bruce for a drink, and judging by how close he is getting to Bruce's face, he is expecting more. Clark grips his notepad tighter, crumbling the poor thing, as Clark steels himself for an intervention. When Bruce moonlights as Bruce Wayne, tragically orphaned heir of Wayne Enterprises, he often lets too many things slide, letting his discomfort be at the lowest priority. "I'm very sorry, Mr. Martin," Clark hears Bruce apologize, in the distance, with a low, soft voice. Though Bruce keeps his head to the floor, he does flutter his eyelashes at Martin, wearing a demure, shy smile. "You know I don't drink anymore. I need to set a good example for the children." "But Brucey," he whines, grating on Clark's ears. "It's a custom-made drink. Ask the bartender to mix it myself. Look at the colors. It suits your outfit." He steps closer, having the audacity to place his hand on Bruce's waist. Clark can hear Bruce's heart stutter, and his eyes grow wide with alarm. Clark makes his way to Bruce, weaving through the crowds of people, fists trembling. "Mr. Martin, I don't..." Bruce is pushing Martin's chest away. "Come on! I made it just for you, baby. You can't just..." The loud, piercing sound of shattering glass cuts through the conversation. Shards of glass falling from Jason's hand, like raindrops, scattering onto the floor. The guy lands on the ground, harshly, as Jason pushes him away with no care. The people around them are staring, and whispers start to fill the air, reverberating in Clark's ears with an irritating buzz. "Hey, what's your problem?" he screams. He's about to say more, but Jason levels him with a downright deadly scowl, so similar to Batman's. Standing side by side, Jason is a few centimeters taller than Bruce, standing proud and angry beside his father, like a particularly dangerous guard dog with his immense bulk. "Jason," Bruce calls out softly. Jason ignores him, trudging to the man on the floor like a panther hunting its prey. His combat boots landing heavy thuds on the floor, making Martin gulp as he shuffles backwards. Jason pulls the man up onto his feet by his cravat, getting the full force of his glare. "A bit of advice, asshole. When someone says no, you back the fuck off." He throws the man back, sending him stumbling to Dick Grayson, who seems to appear out of thin air, greeting him with a manic grin. Dick grips his arm, tight enough that Martin lets out a little yelp of pain as Dick leads him away. "Let's escort you out, sir, and I can tell you all about treating other people with basic human decency." He chirps happily to the unfortunate man's pleas. To the crowd gathered around them, Tim, who is nearby, smiling menacingly. My, what a crowd! Shouldn't we be enjoying the gala, everyone?" There have been enough whispers among Gotham socialites of the damage Timothy Jackson Drake Wayne is capable of inflicting onto one's company that dares to cross his family. So, swiftly, the crowd scatters. Tim comes to Bruce's side, looking him over and typing something furiously into his tablet. "Tim," Bruce says disapprovingly. His son shoots him a charming smile that will fool anyone but Bruce and the rest of the Justice League. There is a glint in his eyes, dangerous and wild. "Don't worry, Dad. Nothing Alfred wouldn't approve of." Bruce, as usual, folds the moment his shy children call him Dad. Bruce walks to Jay, who is staring in the direction where Martin was dragged off with obvious disdain, his cape following him like a pack of swans. J-Lad, is your hand okay? Bruce fusses, taking Jason's hand and cradling it with gentle care. I'm fine, B. I'm wearing a thick-ass glove. Bruce gives Jason a warning grunt for his language before shaking his head. You shouldn't have done that, Jason. What will the people say about you? They'll say that Jason Peter Todd Wayne loves his father and is very protective of him. Clark cuts in meekly, seeing as Jason looks like he's about to blow a gasket. There's nothing Jason is more passionate about than protecting the people he loves, after all, and he will fight tooth and nail about it, even Bruce himself. Jason raises an eyebrow at the interjection. Gonna quote that for the Daily Planet, Boy Scout? Clark nods, writing it down in his notepad. If you don't mind. The reporter glances at Bruce Wayne, returning the small smile Bruce has on his face, with a wobbly one, as red blooms across his cheeks. Hi, Mr. Wayne. Clark, it's good to see you. You look nice in that suit. And he does. Lois made sure he wore a form-fitting suit instead of his loose, oversized ones, so he wouldn't embarrass himself in front of his crush, who would undoubtedly look like angels themselves had molded him. As usual, Lois Lane was right. You look... Clark trails off, taking Bruce's beauty in with his eyes. At his hesitation, Bruce straightens up. The gentle beat of Bruce's heart quickens slightly, and he can see the blood thrumming through his veins with anticipation. Jason gives him a look, adjusting his stance to become wider, angling his body to look more threatening. Clark is certain that if he broke Bruce's heart here, Jason would club him in the face with some hidden kryptonite ring or something. Clark's smile grows wider. Knowing that Bruce is loved so fiercely is so comforting. Unbidden, Clark takes a step forward, as if possessed by those strikingly enchanting blue eyes. He keeps his hands clenched to his suit, definitely wrinkling it, so that he wouldn't be so bold as to do something so socially eye-catching as cupping his hands around Bruce's porcelain cheeks. You look beautiful, truly, Bruce. Clark whispers, beyond sincere. Bruce's eyes dart away from him, face aflame. Jason groans when Bruce pulls him closer to hide his face from Clark, with Jason's muscled arms. Jason gives Clark a suffering look, as if to say, see what you did? Making Clark stifle a laugh behind his notepad. A few seconds pass when Bruce finally recovers, pulling away with a happy little smile that makes Clark's butterflies zoom around Clark's stomach. This must be what a stomachache feels like, Clark thinks. Such kind praises, but it's all thanks to Stephanie, really. Bruce, you can't give all the credit to me. Stephanie comes barreling into the conversation, like the ball of energy she is. Bruce easily maneuvers her into a half hug, throwing an arm around her shoulders, with a warm smile. A few other reporters and guests surround them with interest. Vicky Vale nudges her mic at Steph, eyes alight with curiosity. Is it true that you made this all by yourself, Miss Brown? Stephanie nods proudly. I had some help with the materials, and from Bruce's endless supply of kids. The crowd laughs good-naturedly. But the rest, that's all me. She smirks, throwing her thumb at herself. A socialite girl whistles in appreciation. That's impressive. That's Stephanie for you. She's very talented. Bruce agrees, pressing the lips to the crown of Stephanie's head as she giggles. A Bruce Wayne who is in his I'm a proud father mode is a Bruce Wayne who won't shy away from interviews, so the reporters around them pounce at the opportunity. Clark joins in, so Perry will hopefully get off his back. Some lucky few even manage to get a few words with the elusive Jason Todd, standing tall behind his father. Clark asks Steph to describe to them her work process. She shoots him a thankful smile as she goes into a very in-depth description of the whole process of making the outfit as grand as Bruce's before moving on to the next question. It continued like this, with Bruce being more inclined to answer if asked about his children, or Gotham, until one reporter asks, "I've noticed Miss Brown isn't fully under your custody like the rest of your children. What is your relationship with her, Mr. Wayne?" The buzzing atmosphere silences. Steph's smile dims, looking unsure, as Jason's narrowed eyes shine with a green tint laced in them. Bruce's gentle eyes turn sharp for a quick second before the dark look on his face vanishes. The people around them begin to whisper, some suggesting such unsavory things that Clark can feel the heat gathering in his retinas. Is she his sugar baby? Maybe she's a working girl that Bruce took in. God knows he's too soft. Someone should check if Bruce is alright, keeping all these kids. He's a bit different, isn't he? Clark burns inside, heavy with rage. How could they? How could they say such things when Steph has been in the family for quite a while? Bruce's eyes roam over them, impassive and calm, as he draws his body up into his full height, easily towering over most of the guests. Cass silently slips her hands around Steph's, surprising all of them except Bruce. Bruce wets his lips before answering, his voice washing over them like the calming sea waves. Stephanie still has her mother, who is trying very hard to be better for her. She's someone very dear to my children. He glances at Cass and Steph's joined hands. Some more than others. She may not be my daughter, but she is one of mine regardless. There is no trace of hesitation in his voice, firm and unwavering, as he claims Stephanie for the world to see. Steph herself is staring at Bruce, wide-eyed and teary. Bruce gives Stephanie a wry grin. I guess you could call her my Steph-daughter. Silence once again persists. Bruce! Steph groans. That's so lame. You're so embarrassing! She exclaims, shaking Bruce's arm as she cringes, with the crowd's polite laughter filling the air. The confident stance Bruce has taken crumbles as he pouts. Cass pats his back consolingly. It's funny, Cass says. It's really not. Jason sighs. Bruce nudges Cass's forehead with his own, a smile returning to his face. See? Cass agrees with me. Favorite child. Steph sings to both of them. I don't have a favorite child. I love all of you equally. It's okay, B. Cass is my favorite too. A pedantic-looking man clears his throat, staring at the little family with clear derision. Isn't this quite inappropriate, Mr. Wayne? Not to mention the waste of resources. Why care for her when she isn't even your child? His words drew the crowd's ire. Bruce looks downright murderous. If someone were to capture his face right now, they'd probably have no problem comparing him to Batman. Before Bruce could say a word, however, Vicky stepped forward, tapping her shoes on the ground in an angry-sounding rhythm. She glares at him, clicking her tongue. God, you must be an outsider. Family is family, she sneers, as she gestures towards her cameraman. Get a good look at him, Ed. This will be our headline today. Pedantic CEO of coveted oil company and Star City doesn't understand the concept of found family. Add that he's a bigot too, Vicky. Steph chimes in, eyes ablaze, standing side by side with her. Bruce moves to follow, but is held back by Cass and Jason. Vicky grins, all shark-like and wide. Care to give us the scoop, Stephanie? Stephanie grins. It's dark and angry, like a splatter of blood on the ground. She walks a few steps closer, towards the CEO. Steps slow and deliberate, letting the click-clack of her heels fill the air. The man must have sensed her malice, since he backs away a few steps. His face is angry red. "He called Bruce a whore," she stated, revealing in the pointed murmurs of the crowd. I mean, sure, the man dated a few times, but he stopped when he adopted Dick, and from what I heard, he was painfully awkward in all of those dates. "I can attest to that," Selena added from the crowd, proudly. Bruce covers his face with his hand, groaning slightly, with an amused Jason and Cass consolingly patting his back. Stephanie pointed at him, pressing her fingers against his chest. "He just can't accept that a man can be both handsome and pretty." Vicky snorts. "How backwards!" "I know, right? That's not even the worst of it." To the crowd, Stephanie spills the rest of the downright derogatory words that had fallen out of the man's mouth. Lois appears beside Clark, aggressively taking pictures for the scoop. "And just like that, social suicide," she whistles. Clark watches, feeling very vindicated as the disgraced man, unable to defend himself, trudges away from the scene, with a few reporters chasing after him like a flock of vultures, hunting their next carcass. Bruce rushes to Stephanie, face pinched with worry. The crowd dissipates after a pointed look from Jason Todd, leaving the family with the illusion of privacy. "You see that, Bee?" Stephanie shouts, jittery from the encounter. "That man's face! He couldn't believe how quickly people were jumping to your defense." Jason huffs. "I still think we should've roughed him up a little." Cass, the gremlin that she is, nodded sagely. Bruce shakes his head, failing to hide his amusement, the small quirk of his lips for his loved ones to see. Harley joins in, a dangerous gleam in her eyes, leaving Bruce eyeing her suspiciously. "I mean, if you're offering..." "No, you just got out of probation, Harley." Harley's face drops, looking at Bruce with puppy dog eyes. "Aw, but Brucey!" Pale, icy blue snow eyes harden. Harley pouts, turning away from Bruce to sulk to Pamela, staring at Harley with obvious fondness. Does he look that obvious when he stares at Bruce? Looks like the bat glare, TM, is still effective without the suit. Lois fist bumps Stephanie. "That was some defense there, kid." "Don't worry, we're gonna put that asshole in his place in the papers. With luck, his company will barely be left standing." Stephanie bows theatrically to Lois, as thanks. "You know, he's not the only one," Steph smirks, whispering in Lois's ears. They both then engage in a conversation so bloodthirsty it almost made Clark feel bad for those people. Almost. Cass is with the Gotham Sirens, planning their next girl day together. Bruce, a few steps away, murmurs his drink order to Jason, who leaves to go to the bar. Bruce is alone, and the others are distracted, and the rest of the children are scattered around. Heart hammering, Clark steps closer to Bruce. "Are you alright?" Bruce grunts, pinching the bridge of his nose. I'd prefer if Stephanie didn't confront him like that, putting herself in the spotlight like that. People's eyes will be on her. Feeling bold, Clark rests his hand on Bruce's arm, the material of his sleeves as soft as silk. "I'm glad she did. You deserve it. To be fought for like that." Bruce stills, unconsciously holding his breath as he focuses his attention on Clark. Clark lets himself drown in Bruce's beautiful eyes. And just like before, at the entrance earlier, everything quiets, and Clark can only hear the strong thumping of Bruce's heart, endlessly fighting to keep him alive through every horrible endeavor. His nighttime lullaby. The heart of the kindest, most strong man, only just human, in the world. "Brucey!" A shrill voice called out, snapping both of them from their trance. Bruce startles, eyes wide as he turns around to see Oliver Queen, waving at him happily with Dinah, walking hand in hand. Oliver's outfit greatly resembled a more fancy, elaborate version of Robin Hood, a long, flowing cape trailing behind him like the wind. He even had a bow, and a set of arrows strapped to his back, though those may be props. Clark was sure that Oliver could use them with terrifying accuracy. Dinah is dressed in a long, flowing dress adorned with crystals and glitter, and a fancy crown set on her head. Resembling royalty, Oliver nods at Clark before putting a hand on both of Bruce's shoulders. "Bruce, you look absolutely beautiful, and I'm happy for you. But why didn't you tell me about Mr. Anderson? I can't believe I invited you to my gala and let you be degraded by those blockheads." Bruce crosses his arms, frowning at Oliver like a reluctant boy being scolded by a protective older brother. "It wasn't that serious, Ollie. Also, your wife is right there. You can't just call me pretty when your wife looks like a queen." Oliver raises his eyebrow, and Bruce stares at him head on. It lasts a few seconds before Oliver lets out a deep sigh. Clark sympathizes. "It's hard to out-stubborn a bat. We are talking about this later, Bruce, I swear." Then he gestures towards his voice, puffing his chest out like a proud peacock. "And yes, my wife is a queen. And this queen knows when to accept defeat. It's alright, Bruce. We both know you're very attractive." Dinah eyes Clark with malicious intent, making him squeak nervously. "I'm sure we recall your last fuck, marry, kill game," she whispers. Bruce gawks at both of them, mouth shut in disbelief. His eyes flutter nervously before he stoically nods, hiding his blushing face behind his large, puffy sleeves. And Clark, unfortunately, only has his small notebook to hide his face with. Oliver and Dinah laugh, cheering and bright like Clark's heart at the moment. Despite the teasing, Jason comes back with the drink, eyes Bruce's face, and instantly hounds the married couple. They continue to chat, with Clark taking in some quotes for the Daily Planet, and Lois snapping pictures of the queens and Wayne adjacents together for a fluff piece. It was quite entertaining, seeing this side of Oliver and Dinah. Oliver was an overbearing older brother, and Dinah, the patient older sister to Bruce, who, though looms over them, is very much a younger brother. Bro, he's so cute. Father. Damian Wayne emerges from Clark's side, scaring everyone except the bats, earning identical judgmental glares from both father and son. "Clark, you've gotten sloppy. I know my father is beautiful to behold, but this is ridiculous." Clark waves his hands around, embarrassed. It's not like that. I was... Damien brushes past him, standing in front of his father like a proud soldier. "Damien." Bruce pats his youngest's hair fondly, after schooling his face into something more neutral. He must see Bruce's hesitance, because he continues. "Don't be so modest, father. Even our Wikipedia page has your beauty and presence listed as a city treasure." I still can't get them to delete it. Good luck with trying to stop both the forces of Gordon and Drake. Anyway, I must ask that you cease this meaningless conversation. The mayor is awaiting your presence. Bruce jolts, wringing his hands together nervously. "Right, the speech." Damien clicks his tongue with a distinctive t, sliding his smaller hands into Bruce's much larger ones. "Be ready at the table. Make sure the others are there, too," he orders his 3 older siblings. Jason, Stephanie, and Cass mockingly give Damien a salute, accompanied by a cheery, "Yes, Prince." Damien promises a series of concerning threats that lead Clark to pray for Bruce's patience. The boy gives the rest of them a nod and leaves, leading his father away. "Damn!" Hal Jordan exclaims, moving to join them. The cape skirt covers his ass, but those hips, though! "Hal!" Clark screams, appalled. Jason and Stephanie crack their knuckles, while Cass suddenly disappears to thin air. "Prepare to die, Jordan." Jason sneers, his smile wide, baring his sharp teeth for them to see. Oh no. Clark has to make sure they don't cause too much trouble. Where's Diana? Clark needs backup for this. Damien stands guard, watching with hidden fondness, as Baba, larger than life itself, yet shy Baba, awkwardly greets a beautifully dressed Bella Real, who has worn a more aristocratic approach to a suit. Mayor Bella gives him a very motherly pat on his arm, nodding approvingly at his outfit. Finally grown out of your black suits, Mr. Wayne? You look absolutely stunning. That Stephanie girl has a good eye. Have you considered enrolling her in a fashion design course? Baba nods, stiff like a robot, with Mayor Real hiding her smile behind her handkerchief. Thank you. You look gorgeous, Mayor Real. Stephanie once considered it, but she prefers to keep her interests as a hobby. She is far more interested in pursuing her studies in the chemistry department. She nods receptively. Another great mind for Gotham. Mayor Real turns her gaze to Damien and gives him a warm smile. The years have passed, and there are strands of gray along her hair. But Damien thinks that, just like Baba, the warmth of her smile and eyes remains the same, untouchable like the sun and moon ruling the skies. You've grown taller since the last time I saw you, Damien. Maybe in a few years, you'll even surpass your father. Damien held his head high, his chest swelling with pride. Of course, I intend to surpass even Todd in the future. Jason Todd, huh? Then I must wish you the best of luck. The announcer's microphone echoed from the door, startling Bruce. He stands unnaturally straight, face furrowed. Mayor Real led him forward, a kind hand on his back. It's all right, Damien. I'll make sure he's fine. I'll take care of him. Damien's heckles are ruffled, as they always are when someone insinuates that they can take better care of Bruce than he can. But instead of blowing out in anger, as he did before, he takes a deep breath, remembering something Grayson once said. I used to be a little like that too when I was younger, but then Alfred told me that having someone else care for me doesn't mean I'm being replaced, or that Bruce is being taken away. It's just that Bruce now is loved by more than one person, and we can all take care of him together. You know how he is, the stubborn old bat. I'll take your word for it. Do not break him, or I'll break you myself. Baba stares at him, seemingly horrified at him for threatening the mayor. Honestly, he's such a worrywart. It's not like he can't defend himself. And besides, Baba was much, much richer anyway. The mayor regards him with a solemn gaze that is rarely ever meant for him, since far too many people underestimate him for his age. There's understanding in her eyes, comprehension born from far too many losses, and a desperate need to hold on to all that you have left that is dear. As you should, she agrees, despite Baba's insistence on proper manners. Mayor Real is a trustworthy ally indeed. As he moves to leave, Baba suddenly grasps his arm. Damien, he calls out to him. There's something odd and childlike in his tone, revealing a buried past. His Baba is a man built on layers, with complexity over complexity sculpted around his art, making unearthing each part of his facade a genuine puzzle. At first, Damien thought that Batman was the true identity, and that Bruce Wayne was the facade, an empty husk made to cover the traces of Batman. But the truth is that Bruce, Brucey, and Batman are all different parts of his Baba. It's painfully mundane, yet painfully human, and Damien can't help but to love him more. Damien isn't as sunny as Grayson, or as cunning as Gordon, not as sweet as Cassandra, not as fierce as Todd, not as smart as Drake, and not as sincere as Thomas. But Damien is Damien, and slowly but surely, he is learning that it's okay to just be him. He can love in his own way. So Damien takes his Baba's larger hand and cradles it in his smaller ones. He does not smile, for a childhood spent training as a weapon has left him in tatters, but his green eyes, unlike his mother's sharp ones, are soft and sincere, just like Baba's. "We'll be here, Baba," he says kindly. Bruce lets out a shaky exhale before swooping in for a hearty hug. His Baba can stare Killer Croc into submission, but he is scared of giving speeches. What a silly, silly man. Damien reluctantly pulls away from his Baba's warm embrace. He would, ironically, kill again for Bruce's hug. And he gives him a confident nod before leaving for his table. He can't wait to see Baba on stage. The shine of the limelights are almost blinding. If he didn't spend so much time around Duke, his eyes would have been hurt a lot more. Bruce takes a deep breath, thinking Bella real as she steps down from the podium. The claps of the guests are deafening, booming in the tall halls of the room. She had given him a motivational speech that would put even Superman to shame after Damien left, ending it with a warm hug that oddly reminded him of his mother's. Bella clapped him on the shoulder, whispering something that made his heart briefly stop before walking past him to her table. "You have faced unimaginable horrors in the dead of night. This will be a walk in the park for someone like you." She is smiling as she walks. He steadies his heartbeat, feeling faintly amused. Well, she was always sharp. So he suspected that she knew. She has probably known for a while, judging by the assertiveness of her expression. Mayor Real is a trustworthy ally indeed. The announcer roars his name with an enthusiasm that would put Dick to shame, sending forth another wave of resounding applause and a wave of anxiety crashing into him. "It's alright. It's alright. You can do it. You're Bruce Thomas Wayne, the Batman. Your children are more terrifying than this." He sends a prayer for his beloved parents, stepping up to the podium and letting the lights envelop him, for once, instead of the oh-so-comforting darkness. The crowd, as always, for some reason, goes wild seeing him. He can never understand why people would greet him with such fervor when, at the end of the day, he's just another rich white man. But, oh well. Bruce tries to give them his best smile. His eyes land on his table, where all of his beloved family resides, in addition to the Gordons and Gotham Sirens. Just like Sweet Damien had said, they were all there. Alfred, finally sitting at the same table as them, catching his gaze, gives him a fond smile. Bruce breathes in and talks, keeping his eyes on the paper laid out in front of him. He starts with the thorough, heartfelt, very generic speech his PR team had written, in addition to giving them another headache, like he always does. He really shouldn't, honestly. They're good, hard-working people willing to deal with his family insanity. He's pretty sure some of them know what he really does behind closed doors anyway. The audience listens attentively, cheering when the line calls for it, and whatnot. It's still jarring to think that he could capture their attention like this when before he could walk amongst the crowd wearing just a hat for a disguise, and nobody would bat, an eye. It almost feels like all his worrying was for naught, since words flowed through his mouth without struggle, and the written speech was over. He was once again greeted with massive applause. The announcer comes by, thanking him for his speech. "Wonderful as always, Mr. Wayne. Now, dearest guests, we shall commence with, 'I have more to say,'" Bruce states simply, the microphone picking up his mumble, broadcasting his words to the stunned audience. The man seems shocked, too. Bruce doesn't blame him. But tonight was special. And though words are difficult, there's something he needs to say, with all the people he holds so dear to his heart gathered here in one place. Oh, all right. He's a bumbling young man, reminding Bruce of Barry as the Flash when the League first formed. Bruce had found him, a scrawny teenager at the edge of a building, not as Batman, but as Bruce Wayne. Painfully weak Bruce Wayne. Not knowing what to do, he held his hands as he sobbed, sitting on the edge of the building as he cursed Bruce himself for his luck. That was a year before. He looks happier now, lighter. Bruce himself had been invited to his wedding. He should really stop stressing the guy out. "Is that all right?" he asks, just to be polite, since Alfred and his parents had raised him better than this. Just like that solemn night before, he takes Bruce's hand, staring imploringly into Bruce's eyes. Bruce hopes that he finds what he's looking for, soon. Making eye contact was a horribly uncomfortable endeavor. "Of course, Mr. Wayne. They would want to hear you. It will be the highlight of their day. Just like it was for me." The words hung in the air, for only Bruce to hear. The young man turned to the crowd. "Everyone! It appears Mr. Wayne has more to say. What a joyous night it is!" He scurries away after that, leaving Bruce with thousands upon thousands of eyes looking at him with anticipation. And Bruce looks back. Holy shit, I can't believe it. Bruce is actually talking more? Good heavens! Language, Master Jason. Good heavens, you're such a nerd, Jason. I will beat you up, Timmy. Duke reflects some of the light, reflecting from their glasses, onto both Todd's and Drake's eyes, making them groan in pain. Good. Dude, shut up, I'm trying to listen. Grayson is shaking his shoulders like a pitiful child, desperate for attention. Damie, what did Mayor Real say to Bruce? I'm not sure, Damien admits. I left when she said that she could take care of him. Grayson looks at Damien fondly, placing warm hands onto his cheeks, his thumbs caressing his collarbones. You trusted her? Scoffing, Damien pushes away Grayson's hand. She proved to be trustworthy. Like Alfred the cat always does, Grayson's clingy hand comes back to pat his head gently. I'm proud of you, little bro. Damien bites down on a smile. Hush, Grayson. I wish to listen to father. My parents loved me. Bruce starts. Inside, he's cringing at the awkwardly blunt start. My papa and mama loved me. So much that even to this day, decades after their murder, I can still feel the remnants of it, buried deep within my heart. Bruce's gaze trails across the crowd, lingering on his family, who were watching him intently. They felt love so profound that they wanted to share it with others. Through the Wayne Charity Gala, though the Wayne Charity Gala has long been an established tradition within the Wayne family line, after I was born, they focused the flow of money towards parents who want to raise their children, but didn't have the funds to properly attend to their needs. Towards orphanages and schools. They want to use their money to fund a future where every child could never want for more, where they would think about nothing except their parents' love for them. Bruce smiles, somber and painful. My father was rather idealistic, and my mother, his staunch supporter, had always followed his whims. After their untimely deaths, corruption seeped into every part of the city, making their charities useless. And I was too young to stop it. Bruce picks at his cuticles, head bowed low with shame. And by the time that I was old enough to take action, I hid in my manor. After spending all my time locked inside, I saw no reason to get out. After all, what could one man do to stop decades of misconduct? He'd always thought that Bruce Wayne was weak, that he could do nothing against the darkness that was Gotham. Not like Batman, who was made to fight the dark and gritty. But then, the Riddler had struck because of Bruce Wayne, flooding the city with water and leaving behind a society reeling from tragedy. On that day, witnessing that frightened young girl holding on to Batman's, Bruce's, scarred, bloody hands for comfort, that Bruce saw what Brucey Wayne's awkward, frail hands could do. After Riddler's attack, and seeing Alfred, Bruce choked on his words, raising his head to look at Alfred, whose expression was as pinched as his. He was a man who took on a traumatized 8-year-old child with enough liquid assets to fund an entire city into his embrace, and cared for Bruce when any other person would have taken advantage of him. A sudden, unwanted burden. Alfred fought to take him back, too, after Philip Kane had falsified Martha's will and swooped him away with the sole reason of wanting to hurt him. And when he had returned, more broken than ever, Alfred had stayed then, too. My father. While everyone had listened keenly, the moment he confessed the truth of his heart, whispers had broken out. He let them, staring resolutely at Alfred, at his father, whose usually stern eyes had softened, staring at Bruce like he is truly seeing him. Dory has a kind hand on Alfred. She's looking at Bruce, pride so evident in her eyes that it makes Bruce uncomfortable. Seeing my father injured in that explosion, when he's the only family I have left, changed something in me. And while I'm fortunate enough to have the means to treat him, others are not. Bruce lets the words wash over. I'm a father now, a mentor to 8 talented young men and women, and even more. Fatherhood has changed me. I was quite bitter before. But then I met my first starlight, my eldest, Richard. Bruce gestures at Dick, mouth carved with a nostalgic smile, who looked stunned by the sudden attention. We were 2 people born from the same tragedy, but with his small hands, he carved a spot in my heart and taught me about love. I met Jason, my little spitfire, whose kindness is woven into his soul, despite the hands that life has thrown at him. We thought we lost him, but he came back, like the miracle that he is. Barbara Gordon, who even at a young age wanted to uphold justice just like her father, who set me straight when I was astray. Bruce takes a deep breath. Sweet Cassandra, who taught this old fool to be more open with his heart. Bright Timothy, who saved me over and over again. Stephanie, with her perseverance and wit, who stayed and proved herself to me, despite my initial reserves. Gentle Damien, who still remained a sweetheart despite everything that happened before he found me. And Duke, who never gave up and carved his own past. Bruce couldn't look at them, returning to keeping his gaze down. Still afraid of bearing his heart out like this. This has been a long time coming. Bruce just hopes that it's not too late for them to accept his words. I have not been a great father. I have made mistakes. Mistakes that have cost me the world, and yet they are still here. And somehow I have made friends who accept me for who I am, and all of my quirks and flaws. His mind flashes with images of the Watchtower, of the Justice League, and memories of camaraderie within the battlefield and outside. These people who stand front and center against whatever threats were leveled upon Earth. Kind people who serve the world and continue to serve and expect nothing in return. They're truly wonderful people, and the best I've ever met. I'm happy. Bruce's voice cracks. God, he wants to die. He dares himself to look up. He sees Clark, kind, so human and perfect, sitting at the table he booked specifically for them, staring at him with the brightest blue eyes and a face that looks like he's about to cry. Lois, Connor, and Jean are with him, as well as any other teammates and friends that his children had invited. His eyes trailed over to another table, seeing Diana with Steve Trevor. She's smiling at him, as she always does, undeterred by his darkness. He spots the West family in the corner of his eye, sitting with Hal Jordan and Jean in his human disguise. Barry gives him an enthusiastic thumbs up. Then he catches Bruce's eyes. There are tear tracks on his cheeks. Hal, for once, doesn't seem bored listening to him. He looks oddly serious, and he keeps his gaze on Bruce. Jean nods at Bruce, and Bruce can feel something picking at his brain, seeking permission for entry. Bruce lets his walls down. You are doing good, Bruce. We are all grateful for your friendship, too. The Atlantean royal family sits at a table near them, and Arthur Curie gives him a solemn, thankful little bow. Bruce also spots several other members, staring at him with awe, like Ollie and Dinah, looking moved by his speech. I'm happy to have met them, and to have found connections in the strangest of places. With that, he glances at the Gotham sirens, his confidants during late girls' night sessions. He thinks about some of the other rogues, though twisted, still held a semblance of humanity in their hearts. When this airs on TV, Bruce is sure that he'll hear from them soon. He's sure that Uncle Ozzy is listening anyway. I'm happy. Happier than I ever thought possible, and I have them to thank for all the love I've received over the years. This gala is a declaration of love, of the family that we choose, and a thank you. Hopefully, with the money that we've collected today, Gotham can heal bit by bit, and the people of tomorrow can choose who they love. Bruce bows his head and says earnestly, "Thank you for everything." Utter silence. This was a mistake. Maybe Bruce can fake his death and fuck off to another universe where he didn't make this speech. The sound of a lone chair creaking in the dead silence of the hall makes Bruce lift his head from the bow. Alfred standing tall and firm, uncaring of all the eyes on him. Bruce's father stares at him, straight in the eyes, lifts his hands, and claps. Bruce's children quickly join him, and then the hall is filled with the sounds of chairs creaking, accompanied by loud bursts of applause and whistles of glee. Bruce goggles at the crowd. There's a burst of feeling, happiness, love, guilt, surprise, and "this is the bare minimum. Why are you applauding me?" exploding in his chest, so bright and strong that it's scaring him. Mumbling his thanks, Bruce scurries away into the back room, heart hammering with adrenaline. Here, hidden from view, Bruce collapses, falling onto his knees. How strange. He had faced horrors unimaginable to most men, had survived torture after torture that would break even the strongest of soldiers. But here, after bearing his heart out to the world, to Gotham, to his family, he breaks, shivering under the weight of his love. He doesn't know how long he stays there, staring at the ground, with his stomach rolling with nausea. But his solitude is broken by the sound of footsteps, slow and deliberate, the clacking heel of Oxford shoes. Alfred kneels next to him. "My son," his father beckons, and for some reason, Bruce breaks. He throws himself into Alfred's open arms, burying his face in Alfred's frail shoulder, and though Bruce towers over Alfred, now in his arms, he feels like a grieving child all over again. "You've done well. It's all right." More footsteps follow with a low hum of wheels, and soon more arms surround him. Bruce, overwhelmed with love, lets his tears fall, allowing his family to see him with his heart carved open wide. His family whispers words of assurance, a soothing lullaby in his ears, and Bruce, alive, somehow still alive, breathes. When Bruce finally feels alright, and after Alfred dutifully cleans his face from the tears, he steps out into the light. People come by to greet him and praise him for such a earnest, profound speech. Bruce fidgets with his hands. The praises are a bit too much. "Bruce!" A calm, soothing voice calls to him, pulling an unbidden memory, a dark, blood-stained alley, the rotten stench of dead bodies, and the sole comfort of a ratty old trench coat drapes over his shoulders. Jim Gordon comes by, wheeling in Barbara, too. "Hell of a speech you just made, son." He pulls Bruce into a hug, patting his back resolutely. Pulling away, Bruce nods awkwardly, letting Barbara hold his hand. He is sure Barbara is laughing inside at him. "I've never thanked you for that time." Jim raises his eyebrow at him. "So, I'm guessing all those expensive coats and coffee were just freebies?" Bruce shakes his head, trying to put words together. "Not with words." The hands rested on his back, still. Jim stares at Bruce with exasperation. "Bruce, you don't need to thank me for all that." He pulls him into another hug, pulling Barbara in as well. "You look happy, Bruce." Barbara whispers, "I'm glad you're happy. It's all thanks to you," Bruce says. "Bruce!" Thomas hollers, weaving through the crowds vying for Bruce's hand, before bowing in an exaggerated manner in front of Bruce. He daintily takes Baba's gloved hands, bestowing a shy kiss. "May I have the first dance?" "Oh, beautiful Prince of Gotham." Baba gently pulls him up before returning the bow. "It would be an honor, my dearest Duke." Baba pulls Duke closer, placing a right hand on his shoulder, while the other is intertwined with Thomas's. "You're so corny." Damien watches his brothers laugh. The Waltz of Flowers starts playing, filling the air with heavenly music as the people around them begin to pair up, taking their place on the dance floor. "Do you want me to lead?" Baba asks, but Thomas shakes his head, feet already weaving across the floor in accordance to the music, Baba easily stepping. "I can lead," Thomas says confidently. He jerks his head to the right, where Cassandra is dancing, leading a giggling Brown. A few feet away, Drake is dancing with the other Kent, and the smaller West of the three of them, occasionally switching partners. "I was taught by the masters." With a mischievous grin, Damien knew Thomas was just as bad as the rest of them. Thomas dips Baba, earning a surprised squawk from him. "Duke!" Baba yells, tightening his grip on Thomas's shoulders. "It's all right, V. I'm strong enough." Even a blind man could see that Thomas is struggling. His arms are shaking violently from the exertion. Todd and Grayson's stance grows taut, standing ready to intervene and help. In the end, Thomas manages to lift Baba up, almost stumbling on his feet before being steadied by Baba, who is giggling. Baba's face is flushed red, a truly goofy smile gracing his expression, as he laps Thomas with praises of being able to support his weight. Thomas's face is slack, eyes wide with awe, and Damien understands. His Baba looks like a different person when he is truly happy. But there's something sinister burning inside. The screaming, "Mine, mine, that's my right!" Damien's jaw is clenched, teeth grinding against each other, as he tries to calm down his honestly absurd fury. Thomas is a good person, and he deserves to feel on top of the world for making his Baba smile. Two hands rest on both of his shoulder blades, one rougher, and Damien can feel the ridges of his fingers where the bones didn't heal quite properly, and the other is more slender, the touch gentle. He angles his head towards Grayson, his sunny big brother, who has showed him how to love the world despite the ugliness. It's hard to share him, isn't it? He's so infuriating most of the time, but the second he turns away, you feel like there's something missing. Damien grunts. Then he turns to Todd, his fiery big brother, who once shielded him and tended to his wounds at the League. He's like a parasite. He gives you a home, worms his way into your heart with awkward love, and then he messes up, and no matter how bad, you can't seem to give him up. Damien shakes his head. It's unbecoming, this possessiveness. I've never felt this way before. Todd hums. Well, you've never had a proper dad to love you before. Grayson laughs, bright like the sun, but his eyes seem manic. Such sincere love of a parent. It feels like it's never enough. Damien turns his gaze to his Baba and brother, gracefully waltzing across the floor. But it's a miracle that you'd ever receive something so good as that. It does. Both his brothers agree, settling something in his heart. Damien wonders if Thomas feels the same way sometimes. Maybe he should ask him. Coriander comes by to greet Grayson with a kiss, effectively reducing him to putty before dragging him away to dance. Damien greets Leanne when she comes by with Harper, dutifully accepting the drawing she gives him. Leanne jumps into Todd's arms for a hug. Roy brings Todd over to the impressive indoor fountain, as the little girl babbles to Todd about inane things. Damien watches his family filter about, all entranced in their own versions of happiness. Gordon wheels herself next to him, nudging his shoulder. "I'm surprised you let Duke steal the first dance. Usually you would fight everyone tooth and nail about it." Damien crosses his arms. Thomas rarely accompanies father to a gala. I'm merely being cordial. You should aim that towards Grayson and Todd. The only reason they usually come to this pathetic excuse for a gathering is to dance with Bruce, since they are the perfect height. They are pretty insufferable about it, huh? Damien glances at Gordon. Her bright red hair has been put up in an elaborate braid by Baba earlier, decorated with butterflies and small, pretty flowers by Cassandra and Brown. She has a melancholic expression on her face. watching her family dance, with eyes full of longing. Father once told me that you used to dance with him a lot. Gordon snorts. I was the only one in his flock at the time who was willing to come to his galas. People didn't bat much of an eye about it, knowing Bruce was close to my dad. Who do you think taught Cass how to waltz? Damien wrings his hands together, oddly nervous. Do you miss it? Sometimes, but it's nice to just watch. Just take it all in, you know? Do you miss being out there? Sometimes, but I would never go back to who I was. Gordon grins at him, assured in herself, bordering on almost cocky. I'm better as Oracle anyway. Someone needs to wrangle you hooligans anyway. Damien smiles. I suppose you are one of the lesser evils of our colony. Gordon lifts her fist, an invitation that Damien takes. They fist bump, grinning at each other. Gordon's eyes trail away, eyes lighting up with recognition, giving Damien a sly smile. Looks like your dance partner is here. Damien raises an eyebrow, suspiciously. Damien! Jonathan Kent traps him in a bear hug that would put even Grayson to shame. Damien growls, pushing him. Kent, release me, you heathen! You're ruining my outfit. His leech of a friend wiggles his eyebrows at him. Not until you say my name properly. Damien sighs. Truly, the longer he stays with these bumbling fools, the softer he becomes. Jonathan, release me, or I will get the kryptonite ring. He laughs, all bubbly and innocent, like Goliath was when he was small. You would never. Damien eyes his friend. You actually look presentable for once. Oh, yeah. Mom wouldn't let me go until I was dressed properly. Now come on, I want to dance. I want to make Dad jealous since he can't dance with yours. He slips his hand into Damien's, gentle yet firm in the hold. This boy could tear Damien limb from limb, without batting a single eye, and yet Damien feels no fear or apprehension. You don't even know how to dance. But you can teach me, he says. It is like it's inevitable that Damien will come help. There's something inherently good about Damien that can never turn him away. Maybe Damien can truly believe it, too, someday. Jonathan is a horrible dancer, but he swings around with glee, uncaring of the society's eyes on him. Damien's eyes are drawn to Bruce, who is now dancing with a stone-faced Todd. Todd's face may be grim, but he twirls Bruce around with ease, eyes softening when Bruce laughs. His Baba is truly beautiful, and now, surrounded by a party full of his loved ones, and decked out in a truly extravagant outfit made by the daughter of his heart, he's happy, his eyes twinkling like snowflakes reflecting the sky. Baba catches his eye, smiling with love clear to see, as he waves. And once more, Damien finds one more piece to add to his puzzle of Bruce Wayne. The reason Bruce Wayne is so captivating is because of his love, all-encompassing even when it doesn't make sense. To this day, Damien would never understand how Baba could sit by his parents' murderer's side and hold his hand as he drew his final breath. He was a child who grew up in the dark and cold, stuck underground, surrounded by stalactites and a prominent smell of blood. He is still a child who is growing up in both the dark and light, surrounded by so much warmth. Jonathan's hand is warm. His Baba's smile is warm. The gala lights are warm, and most importantly, his heart is warm. Damien smiles back at Bruce and waves. And though Damien cannot see it himself, with his smile wide and sincere, he is the splitting image of Bruce. Beautiful just like him. Notes. Didn't expect to end this with Damien's POV, but I guess the story writes itself. LOL. Thank you so much for reading. Take care of yourself, and remember Bruce Wayne is baby girl. This is true. Reader notes, I'm sure everyone is excited to hear that by the time this one goes up, I will have already moved, so we won't have any echo in the background. We won't have the sound of dog in the background, because I'll no longer be living with my brother, so his dog will not be present. I love Patton, I truly do, but he also makes a lot of noise just by walking around. We'll still have cat sounds, but they won't be as aggressive, because the cat box will not be in the same room as me. We'll get cat sounds, but they won't be, like, obnoxious cat sounds. like the litter box noises. We'll get some meows, because Toast will probably be in my room when I'm recording. Because the alternative to Toast being in my room when I'm recording is her being outside of my room and screaming. And I don't think my neighbors will like that. Come on! I made it just for you, baby! Toast, please. Come here. You can come. Come. Come sit. She screams, and then she doesn't even come over here. Come on. Do you want to say hi? Okay. She's so baby. She's so girl. Yes, lay down. If you're gonna sit over here, I need you to lay down and not put your entire weight on my sternum. There you go. Stephanie pointed at him. Sit the fuck down, buddy. Lay down. Are you saying hi? Say hi. Come here. Come on. Baby. You're painful. You're heavier than you think you are, and you're putting all of your weight on my sternum. I know, you're just a little kitty cat. You're heavier than you think you are. You're far heavier than you think you are, and I am small and weak. BB. I'm gonna end up with a bruise on the center of my chest, and that's gonna be hard to explain. Okay, bye-bye now. A shrill voice. Don't do Oliver like that. What did Oliver do to you? I love Dinah. She's so pretty. Also, her thighs, she could crush my head like a watermelon. My wife is a queen. She is! I fucking love Dinah. Who set me straight when I was astray. You're not straight, Bruce. That's why I'm reading this. Sitting with Hal Jordan. Fuck you.